MLS action continues Sunday with Toronto FC versus New York City at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific on the TSN network. And of course, these fans happy to have their Eskimos back. Kendall Lawrence happy to be back. This stadium has been home to some of the FIFA World Cup. The Eskimos were out of their home for a month and a half. Played their first game in Fort McMurray against the Argos. So their home opener tonight has been hugely successful in so many ways. Chalk Sanders looked like he was going down and then picked up a few extra yards. The Eskimos also, Dwayne, not only are opening a new season at home here tonight, but they've got brand new turf because of the Soccer World Cup. Kind of a parting gift from the FIFA. Commonwealth. I think when you used to play here, it was real grass. They changed it in 2010 to field turf system, and now it's a little bit different, more soccer related, but obviously the Eskimos are liking it tonight. Burris, and boy, it was almost picked off, but Ernest Jackson has his first catch of the night.
Well, that was tight. Otha Foster, the linebacker, had dropped into coverage on that one. Very nearly put his mitts on that ball.
Well, the Redblacks have to score and score a lot here. Early in the third quarter, and second down, absolutely swallowed up.
Mondo Sewell just owned the inside of the line on that one.
Tackle for loss. He had 7 of those last year to go with his 9 sacks. His front four: Sewell, Willis, Eddie Steele, the Canadian, and Marcus Howard. As good as any in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, and the depth, when you look at it as well, Donner Amision, a former starter, coming back. He's in that D tackle rotation, and Willie Jefferson, who played a lot last year at DN.
This guy's had some nice returns tonight. Dawson doing some dancing here. Finally dropped at the 42-yard line. All Eskimos, the Matt Nichols show. Impressive so far here tonight. 43-14.
Play kick. He mentioned to us yesterday that he's more nervous watching you barrel race than him kick maybe a last-second field goal. How are you feeling watching him right now?
I can totally empathize with him now because I am sick to my stomach watching this. It's so exciting. It's so electric. And I have a lot of empathy for my husband now because this is really terrifying to just sit here.
You met him in 2010. He was a free agent with the Dallas Cowboys. Your uncle and his dad kind of introduced you to kind of show him around town. How did that work out?
It worked out fantastic. You know, he's originally from Honduras, a third world country, and he fit right in the ranch life. So he helps me ride my horses every day, and I help him hold footballs when he practices. And even though we're still in a different country, we're enjoying each other doing our jobs.
Now you're at the Calgary Stampede. What's next for you?
Calgary Stampede is Sunday, so I'm hoping I'm holding that big check on Sunday at the end of the day. Then after that, I go back to the States for like another 40 rodeos.
Is Deborah going to get a chance to see you there on Sunday? Do you know yet?
He's not going to get a chance to see me. That's why we reunited here.
All right. Well, thanks for this, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Rod?
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Fallon. And there is Delbert Alvarado, and you saw the sack. First for the Redblacks tonight. Marlon Smith drops Matt Nichols.
Yeah, Marlon Smith working against the left side of that Edmonton Eskimo offensive line. He goes inside. The rookie Danny Grew at left guard, replacing the injured Greg White. Went the wrong way, and little mock somersault that I don't know if you really want to work in there when you're down by 29.
No, not when you're down that much. Let's go back to barrel racing as a couple of flags fall after. So, by the way, they have a 25-acre ranch.
Guys, everybody back home. Miss you.
In Dallas, they have 27 horses, and Fallon makes 12-hour trips to ride for 17 seconds.
Illegal interference blocking downfield before a pass is caught. Edmonton, number 81. Penalty will be declined. Results in third down.
But very similar high-pressure lifestyles.
Yeah, no question. You mentioned the long trip for a very short period of competition, much like Delbert Alvarado in terms of kicking the football, sort of a split second to get it right.
Bradshaw, 3rd and 15. Ottawa will get the football back. Short kick. Chris Williams spins right into an Eskimo. It's Ocho downfield once again. So Delbert Alvarado happy to have his wife here. We asked him what has more pressure, kicking a field goal or watching his wife ride horses.
Watching her, 100%. Yeah, she's had a neck injury before in the past, and you know, sometimes the ground conditions and the weather be inclement, and you know, there's slips and falls on a 1,200-pound animal going 30 miles an hour, making a sharp turn could get dangerous. And I mean, I always want her to do well. And so, as the husband sitting in the stands and not having any control, just holding the camera and cheering her on, it's always tough for me.
Odell Willis with a knockdown. Alvarado to get another opportunity to kick here tonight. So both Fallon and her husband also have butterflies when they're watching each other.
Blackie, the whole time I was watching those barrel racing highlights, I couldn't help thinking you'd look in one of those barrel racing outfits.
Or in one of those barrels. Danny O'Brien in the game. Oh, long toss for Chris Williams. Danny O'Brien back up, who had some playing time last year for the Ottawa Redblacks in their inaugural season. Out of Catawba College, comes in and almost had a quick strike long bomb with Williams.
Yeah, nice protection on that one as Williams got in behind Pat Watkins in coverage. Just needed a couple more inches on those arms.
Nothing really going right now for the Redblacks. Dawson is back at his 30-yard line. Nice high kick from Anthony Alix. Dawson wrapped up and ripped down. No time to check in with our Purelator sack tally, brought to you by Purelator. Tackling hunger, a promise we can all help deliver. And the Edmonton Eskimos just one behind the sack leaders early in the season, Hamilton and Ottawa.
And Edmonton in just their second game of the season as well here, so going at a pretty good pace.
Edmonton team that was second in the CFL to Saskatchewan last year. And an Ottawa team that was dead last, only 37 sacks the entire season. Look out here. Kendall Lawrence has some room to romp, and he does around the corner, and Javon Johnson chases him out of bounds. An 18-yard gain for Kendall Lawrence.
When I go back to that point about Kendall Lawrence in terms of the Edmonton Eskimos ground game, Lawrence, their third leading rusher last year. John White with 852, Mike Riley at 616. Kendall Lawrence chipped in with 413 yards. All three of them averaged over 6 yards a carry.
Lawrence in the backfield. Nichols. Pistol formation, dropped the football. Loose football, and Ottawa has recovered. With 2:03 to go in the third, and that one just slipped out of the grasp of Matt Nichols.
Tough break for the Edmonton quarterback here.
Abdul Kane provided the duress.
Yeah, we've seen that halfback blitz a couple of times from Kane. And he's the one that forces Nichols to pull that ball down, which led to the fumble.
Well, the Redblacks are going with backup, really third-string quarterback Danny O'Brien. Henry Burris watching on the sideline. Goes over the top for Walker. Reverses field. There goes Siobhan Walker, and Walker. Nice gain, one of the bigger plays for him. Jamaican-born Siobhan Walker, also a big soccer player growing up, spent 2 years in Hamilton, and of course the last 2 years with Ottawa. Broke his forearm last year. So here's Danny O'Brien at the helm.
We'll see whether Henry Burris is just out for a bit or whether his evening is done here. The Redblacks trailing by a wide margin.
Price dusts one defender and gets out at the first down marker, it looks like. Maybe a bit short, maybe 1 yard shy.
Just a quick hitter on the hitch screen.
And it will be second down here. 1 to go. Ryan gets the first down. Redblacks have only been in the red zone once tonight. Have not scored a touchdown. Their only touchdown came via Zach Evans, the former star with the Regina Thunder. Many players who have forged their way into the CFL through junior football programs. Former Saskatchewan Rough Rider and Grey Cup champion Zach Evans. Interception return for a touchdown. That's it. Bryant to Williams. Patrick Watkins lays the lick.
Watkins able to slip under the block coming from the tackle. Colin Kelly on that one.
So O'Brien hanging in here, 2nd and 9. Final play, barring penalty, 3rd quarter. A game that has completely got away from the Ottawa Redblacks. O'Brien, little pump fake here. Now swinging it out to Mo Price. Nowhere to go here for Mo Price. Once again, 4 Eskimos converge, including J.C. Sherritt. That's 3 quarters down here tonight. Edmonton Eskimos 15 minutes away from putting up win number 1 on the season. All over the visiting Redblacks. 43-14 on Thursday Night Football. Well, some big numbers on the board, obviously, for the Edmonton Eskimos. Penalties costly for the Ottawa Redblacks. The biggest numbers, though, 43-14. And Matt Nichols, despite a couple of turnovers, has looked awfully good in this game. When we talked with him yesterday, you asked him, is this a make or break for Matt Nichols? And he agreed. It's make time.
Basically, for a guy in his 6th year in the Canadian Football League, it's time to prove that he can be a starting quarterback. And Matt Nichols obviously didn't want it to come by injury to Mike Riley, but welcomes the opportunity, welcomes the challenge, no doubt.
Eskimo fans loving it here tonight, their home opener. These teams back at it next Friday, home and home in Ottawa. And unless the Redblacks have a huge comeback in store, one for the ages, they're going to need a bounce back next week. Danny O'Brien stays in and throws and knocked down. A turnover on downs, 3rd down there, and so Edmonton will take over. This clearly not the night the Ottawa Redblacks have enjoyed in their first 2 games.
And here they get Jock Sanders singled up. He's got solo coverage. Dexter McCoy, the linebacker, working against him. Ball just a little bit underthrown. You see at the end, Sanders has trouble handling it as well.
So I was just going to ask you, is there a time when Matt Nichols gets the hook here in a lopsided game? And guess what? Chris Jones goes to James Franklin. What a fascinating story James Franklin is. He hands it off to Kendall Lawrence and then provides some blocking. Look at this. What a run from Kendall Lawrence. No way. He's still on his feet. Kendall Lawrence, couple of touchdowns and an exciting run on the handoff from James Franklin.
A couple former Missouri Tigers going to work here. Franklin, the quarterback, Lawrence, the running back. Franklin on this one goes from quarterback to fullback as he gets out front looking to make a block. Kendall Lawrence, who's so good in the open field. Had an impact last year, not just as a slot back, but also as a return man for these Eskimos.
Franklin, and that snap way over his head. Here comes Kane, and he has it. High snap way over the head. That one is on Justin Sorensen. Redblacks have the football right back. This one isn't. It was almost in a bucket.
Bad snap as Abdul Kanay is already coming on the halfback blitz. Results in a rare break on this evening for the Ottawa Redblacks.
You know, if you looked at the turnovers, you wouldn't think this game would be as one-sided as it is, but the Eskimos quite simply have just made hay in the red zone. Every time they've had the football, the Redblacks, the number of penalties have allowed the Eskimos to score at will. Matt Nichols has been the beneficiary. O'Brien hanging in now. Could take it if he wants. Steps back now. He's in trouble. Drops the football and wisely batted out of bounds by Ernest Jackson.
Yeah, great heads-up play by Jackson to understand the rules and know that he doesn't need to recover that. He just needs to be the last one to touch it before it goes out of bounds. Instead of battling with it, he just swats it here.
Dexter McCoyle, the pursuer.
And that's where you see Danny O'Brien, the young quarterback, needs to make a decision earlier as to whether he's going to tuck that one and go, whether he's going to try and throw it away. That indecision, nearly very costly there.
Long night for that Redblack sideline. Three-man rush. O'Brien stands in, delivers. Maurice Price going backwards where Aaron Grimes brings him down.
You can just see Edmonton defensively understanding score situation. They're just sitting back in that sort of down and distance, forcing Ottawa to throw the ball in front of them and then come up and make a play. They weren't even really covering some of the underneath stuff. Siobhan Walker was wide open in the flat, but they're going to let them have a 5-yard completion because they know they can stop them before they pick up another 10.
Alvarado again. 31-yard field goal attempt. Husband of Fallon Taylor puts it through.
31-yard field goal attempt is good.
Well, one of the few cheerleaders tonight have something to cheer about for Ottawa. CFL Fantasy Football is in full swing. Oh, baby, for the 2015 season. Go to tsn.ca/CFL Fantasy to set your roster for a chance to win a trip to the Grey Cup in Winnipeg and a Joseph Abboud suit from Moores. Every pick counts. Make yours today. If you're going to bring a baby to a game, that's a wise move. I hear that. I think everybody's going to be listening. Now the Ottawa Redblacks force another turnover but can't get a touchdown. James Franklin, former Missouri Tiger, connects with the Darius Bowman. Oh, what a straight arm there on Jarrell Gabbins. We had a fascinating conversation with the Darius Bowman yesterday. Well, we didn't really talk. He just did all the talking. But
That's right. Wind him up and let him go.
He is an interesting cat, is he not?
Well, you know, one of the great things to me about Darius Bowman has been when you follow his career arc. I mean, Darius Bowman early in his career, basically Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, those teams gave up on him. You might suggest that Darius Bowman could be a bit of the reason why Paul LaPolice, as a coach, has no hair on his head. He pulled it all out, trying to get the most out of this guy. But finally here in Edmonton, he seems to have realized that just how much of an impact player he can be in the Canadian Football League. And you heard the quote earlier as he said Chris Jones told him, it's all up to you to determine how good you want to be. Well, last year under Chris Jones, and a lot of history between these two guys, Chris Jones turned to Darius Bowman into one of the most dominant receivers in the league.
He did. He said, son, you are as good as you allow yourself to be. And Darius Bowman took those words to heart. They have a history that goes back 15 years, back to middle school, as a matter of fact, when Darius Bowman was a basketball player for Notre Dame High School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They were playing against South Pittsburgh, where Chris Jones hails from and was coaching. And he used to chirp and trash talk Darius Bowman.
Well, Darius Bowman says Chris Jones would be over on the sidelines hollering at his team, imploring them, stop that guy, he's so sorry. He's terrible, he's sorry. And Darius said, I had 30 points. They didn't have anybody who could stop me, and he was still talking trash.
Darius then ended up playing football later. North Carolina, then Oklahoma State. Again, a career that's been riddled really by injury as well, but what a great comeback story at Darius Bowman, particularly with what he did last year.
Yeah, and going back to that maturity piece is understanding. I think some of those injuries caused him to reflect a little bit and not take for granted his talent and the opportunity to play football. And since coming back, that work ethic has improved as he's really strived to make the most of that God-given ability.
Thought he'd never play again. Middle of some of those injuries, here he is, not only playing, but big playing. Now James Franklin was a big playmaker. Franklin, guy who was an MVP in the Independence Bowl with Missouri, won the Cotton Bowl in 2014. A guy who's been working out a lot, playing with Lawrence, of course, in Missouri. Also, Michael Sam was there at Mizzou with him and ended up with the Detroit Lions. Did not get any playing time, was cut. So you know what he did? He emailed almost every CFL personnel director and said, hey, I'm available. Are you the James Franklin that won the Cotton Bowl? Here he is in Edmonton.
Eskimos thrilled to have him. One of the pleasant revelations of training camp for them.
Oh, flying hit there from Kane, but Kendall Lawrence, the former teammate of Franklin. So right now, a lot of Mizzou going on for the Edmonton Eskimos. The double E driving the football again.
Yeah, Kendall Lawrence carrying the load here from the backfield. We saw Chad Simpson head to the locker room a little bit early before the half, leading to a shuffle in the offense.
Speaking of shuffles, how about that one? Jarrell Gavins is injured. We'll step aside and come back as Thursday night football continues from Edmonton.
This football season, we're going to shop at Safeway because we want to win amazing